In most American states, a husband could legally rape his own wife with no criminal consequence. Marital rape wasn't a prosecutable crime anywhere in the United States until laws began changing state by state in the 1970s, and the last state didn't close that loophole until 1993. These weren't customs. They weren't social expectations enforced by neighbors or in-laws. These were the actual laws of the land, some of them still in place within living memory. Today, the 10 things a woman legally could not do in the United States until the 1970s. A few of these will surprise you. Item number 1. A woman couldn't reliably open a credit card in her own name. Banks could require a husband's signature, regardless of her income or credit history, a practice that stayed standard until the Equal Credit Opportunity Act passed in 1974. It finally gave women independent legal standing to build credit on their own terms. Item number 2. In several US states, a woman couldn't serve on a jury. Some states barred women outright. Others allowed it only if a woman actively opted in, rather than being called automatically like men. This continued until federal court rulings through the 1960s and 70s established that excluding women from jury pools violated constitutional protections. Item number 3. A woman could be fired simply for being pregnant, with no federal law standing in her way. That protection didn't exist until the Pregnancy Discrimination Act of 1978, decades after many other workplace protections had already taken hold. Item number 4. Most Ivy League universities remained closed to women entirely. Yale and Princeton didn't admit female undergraduates until 1969. Harvard's undergraduate college stayed effectively separate through its arrangement with Radcliffe well into this same period. A structural barrier rather than a stated ban, but a barrier nonetheless. Item number 5. Even where women were admitted, several universities enforced formal quota systems, capping the number of female students accepted each year regardless of their qualifications. These quotas persisted at multiple institutions well into the 1970s, quietly limiting opportunity even after the doors had technically opened. Item number 6. In many parts of America, a married woman had little or no legal control over major financial decisions within her own household. For generations, the legal doctrine known as coverture treated a married couple as one legal entity, and that entity was effectively the husband. Although many of these laws had been weakened over time, remnants survived well into the 20th century. In practice, many banks, lenders, and businesses continued treating husbands as the default decision-makers for married couples long after society itself had begun to change. Item number 7. Until 1972, schools and colleges receiving federal funding could openly discriminate against women in admissions, athletics, scholarships, and educational opportunities. That changed with Title X, one of the most significant civil rights laws in American education. It prohibited sex-based discrimination across federally funded educational programs, opening countless academic and professional doors that had previously been closed. Item number 8. A woman often couldn't get certain jobs simply because she was a woman. Airlines forced flight attendants to resign after marriage or once they reached a certain age. Newspapers openly advertised separate help wanted men and help wanted women sections. Police departments, fire departments, many corporate management positions, and numerous skilled trades either refused to hire women outright or imposed requirements that effectively excluded them. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 made sex discrimination in employment illegal, but meaningful enforcement took years, and many employers resisted changing long-established hiring practices throughout the 1970s. Item number 9. In many states, a husband couldn't legally be prosecuted for raping his own wife. The law assumed that marriage itself permanently implied consent, making criminal charges impossible in many situations. Survivors had virtually no legal protection because the crime simply wasn't recognized under state law. Beginning in the 1970s, states slowly started removing these exemptions one by one. The process stretched over nearly 2 decades. By 1993, every state had finally criminalized marital rape in some form, closing one of the most controversial legal loopholes in American history. Item number 10. A woman couldn't always control her own reproductive decisions. Before the Supreme Court's 1973 decision in Roe v. Wade, abortion was illegal or severely restricted across much of the United States. Even access to contraception had been heavily limited for decades. Married couples gained nationwide constitutional protection to obtain birth control in 1965, but unmarried women often remained excluded until the Supreme Court extended those protections in 1972. The ability to make deeply personal medical decisions without legal barriers was, for many women, a remarkably recent development. Looking back today, it's tempting to assume these restrictions belong to a distant century, but they didn't. Many Americans watching this video graduated high school before women could obtain credit independently. Others entered the workforce before pregnancy discrimination became illegal. Some served on juries only after courts ruled that women had the same civic responsibilities and rights as men. History doesn't always disappear with dramatic revolutions. Sometimes it changes quietly through court cases, legislation, and thousands of ordinary people challenging rules that had existed for generations. The America of the 1950s and 1960s wasn't simply different in fashion or technology. It operated under a legal framework that shaped nearly every aspect of a woman's daily life. One of the most remarkable things about history is how quickly society can begin to take enormous changes for granted. Today, applying for a credit card, serving on a jury, choosing a career, attending almost any university, or remaining employed during pregnancy feels like an ordinary part of American life. Few people stop to ask when those rights became firmly protected by law. Yet for millions of women, these weren't abstract political debates. They affected whether a family could buy a home, whether a woman could continue working after becoming pregnant, whether she could pursue higher education, or whether the legal system would even recognize crimes committed against her. It's also important to remember that legal change didn't erase inequality overnight. A new law could prohibit discrimination, but attitudes, customs, and institutional practices often took years or even decades to catch up. Many women still encountered obstacles long after the laws themselves had changed. History rarely moves in a perfectly straight line. Progress is often gradual, uneven, and shaped by countless individual stories that never make the history books. Looking back at these legal restrictions isn't about judging previous generations by today's standards. It's about understanding how dramatically everyday life has changed within the lifetime of people who are still here to remember it. The freedoms many Americans now consider routine were, not very long ago, the subjects of courtroom battles, legislative debates, and determined advocacy by people who believe the law should recognize women as equal citizens. Understanding that journey helps explain not only where the United States has been, but how much ordinary life has evolved in just a few decades. Which of these surprised you the most? Were you alive when any of these laws changed? Or do you remember hearing family members talk about them at the time? We'd love to hear your memories and perspectives in the comments below. If you enjoy exploring the forgotten realities of everyday American history, from vanished traditions to surprising laws, and the stories behind them, be sure to subscribe to Eries Untold. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep exploring the history hidden in plain sight.